Join me. Imagine what we could accomplish together.
I'll join the team, be an X-Man.
We are the future, Charles, not them.
What do you think, I'm stupid? You and I are not so different.
You can't keep denying what you are, man.
Because I'm the best there is at what I do.
You, me, we're exceptional. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero.
Plague, war, famine, morality doesn't even enter into it.
I've heard these arguments before.
Think about it, hero!
You are watching Move, Throw, a Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast. I am Charles, also known as Omnus, and I'm here with Danny Modesto, chosen of Vishanti, who just did a great episode with Danger Room, by the way, on playing Convocation. But Danny, are you ready for the new year and full video cast for our Move, Throw?
Yeah, new year, new you, right?
Yeah.
Trying to have all sorts of things go through and try different formats, try new things for the upcoming season, see how we can shake things up, do things differently. Always good for the audience and us involved, right? Always try to push yourself.
100%. So you had decided what we were going to warm up with. You want to tell the listeners and watchers what we're talking about?
So if you have not been on the like Twitters and internet in general lately, you haven't heard about the fact that there have been some trailer drops for Avengers Doomsday.
Yep. So
which is coming out next year, and so what's happened is that
more teaser than trailer, but
they're teasers, but we'll get there. Before Avatar: Fire and Ash, essentially in select areas and showings are showing different trailers over time. And so Marvel is releasing these as a small teasers of what's going on. And these are very different style of trailer, which I was getting at there, than what they've done previously. And I think this is like an interesting direction for them to go with. And it answers sort of several other questions lingering in the background. I think it's sort of setting the direction and tone of where they're going to go here. And so I forced Charles to watch these so that we can talk about this, because obviously we're going to talk about this. And the only thing as a caveat here is that only 2 trailers have come out so far, and we know that there are other trailers coming out. They've announced such things. We're not going to talk about the future. We'll talk about what is here and the things we will discuss and talk about that's currently available.
Which one do you want to do first?
Man.
They both have mans in them.
Yeah, yes. They both have mans in them. And so there are 2 trailers out. There is one starring Steve Rogers, Captain America, and our boy Thor, Odin's son, right? But post Love and Thunder. So it's sort of like a small recap of what's happening to these characters. But you think about it for a second, it's like, well, what do you mean about Captain America?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think going down this pathline of what's going on here is that it answers a question that's been unresolved for a very, very long time is, what did Steve Rogers do at the end of Endgame when he went back in time on the time platform and came back walking in as an old man? And you go, wait a second, what happened here? And he goes, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it actually makes less
like literally what he said
than it did then. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, so the trailer is essentially Steve Rogers showing up to his house. There's a small cut where he's like putting his suit away. At first I thought he was getting it out, but it looked like he was putting it away. So I didn't know if there was
and it's his Endgame suit. Like it is the suit he's wearing, right? That when he left and transitioned over. And I was like, okay, so clearly a continuation here.
Yeah. And as someone who was part of like the Captain America cosplay community, I recognized the suits right away. I was like, that's 100% the Endgame suit. And but so then it reveals that he has a kid, or he's holding a kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that could be Peggy's daughter. It might not be his in theory. Like they don't actually like say anything. So, you know, there's options there, but like if he's coming back and he's not going to be old man Steve, like what?
Yeah.
Are they just going to glaze over that and just be like, nah, old man Steve thing didn't happen. We don't need to explain.
Well, no. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
Right? Because Steve comes back. Remember, being a super soldier, he can live a long time. Right? Like a very long time. So the question is, how old is Steve actually at the end of Endgame?
Yeah.
right? We go back to this whole conversation here.
Yeah, it's definitely like, well, we don't know where in the timeline Doomsday is actually happening, but it's weird to watch the two trailers back to back, and the Thor one seems like very like where
it is current.
After Love and Thunder, but like the Steve one, it's very unclear where in the timeline that it's happening. And I mean, I would definitely be down for like an old man Shield Steve, right? Where he's already, because there's a bunch of comics with Steve where he's still himself. He's still Steve Rogers. He still has super serum, but he's no longer Captain America, right? Sam is Captain America. Sam has
he's given up the title,
but he wears like stealth suit or whatever, and still like works with Shield, and is just like starting to become an older guy. And I would be totally fine with some incarnation of that in Doomsday. But yeah, what do you think? What do you want out of Captain America in Doomsday?
It's like on one hand, he should be the A plot, because if you take a step back and really think about this, right, and you think about the multiverse saga as a whole, the main complaint is no one knows what's going on, right? There's no like main character to follow, and we sort of like you have to follow a bunch of different TVs and movies to really understand what's happening at any real given point in time.
Yeah.
So for the for lack of a better term, the casuals, right? Where it's like, hey, I remember watching Infinity Wars, and I've watched maybe a handful of movies since that height, right? Like your 2018, 2019. Okay, I've maybe watched, one of the Captain America. I've maybe watched one of the newer movies. I watched Deadpool. I got excited. I'm kind of get revitalized. And for them, the emotional high is gonna be Infinity Wars and Endgame, right? Like that is the emotional high, right? Like I'm just straight up.
That's just good science.
So I think one, the Russo brothers are very smart in leaving that sort of door open, right, in the past of like, hey, we can sort of revisit and talk about where things go in the future. But to your point, like there's like a very fine thread here where you just go back to like, well, you're just a band playing your greatest hits now.
Yeah.
And you're no longer trying to push a genre or represent anything. You're just like, I'm here to make money. And how do I accomplish that the most efficiently? Right. And there's like this fine thread here to walk through. I think it's interesting.
For an 80s reference, it's like Kiss, doing Shout It Out Loud, right? They're just trying to, redo rock and roll all night, rock and roll all day, party all night. I forget what it was. But, they're just trying to recreate the prior hit.
So I think this is an interesting gambit for them to play, right? So there's like a nostalgia gambit.
I want the gambit teaser. Thanks.
Right? Like they're really going through here with this. I think they, through these trailers, are sort of setting up different characters who are going to be involved in this movie. That is Doomsday, clearly. We know that Thunderbolts New Avengers, Sam Wilson Avengers are already involved, right? Like they know what's going on from other movies and stuff. You know, Fantastic Four are involved. You assume the Xmen Miss Marvel plotline is involved, right? On some level, right? Like we kind of like threaded that needle earlier, and so we're sort of bringing these things together. The question is, how is this movie going to deliver a cohesive narrative? I think there's a great potential to deliver parts of stories for each, like a status update, right? Essentially for these different groups of people, which is like, sure, but you're like playing a DD campaign and just getting like the highlight reel of what happened versus like feeling like you're engaged in a narrative here. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm certainly going to watch it. I've watched the vast majority of the Marvel stuff in theaters. There's not very many that I missed. And so I will definitely see it. I like this change in marketing at the very least. It's going to be a little interesting to me. I would almost love if these trailers were not in the movie, right? If these are all separate scenes that they're cutting in the background just to be trailers. I think that would be so cool.
That would be very meta, right? Is that essentially you're giving context to scenes and characters in trailers, like using the medium of a trailer to deliver part of the plot to set up the narrative
so you don't
that
have
you're
to make
going
this
to
movie
go into.
7 hours long.
Yeah. Well, if you really, really think about this, it destroys the concept of origin stories. You do origin stories as like a series of trailers leading up. Cool. Let's do like characters that you know already. Like, hey, you want to do new Spider-Man? Like, you don't need to do Uncle Ben plot. Like, it can just be a trailer. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been there before. Like 4 or 5 times now. It's okay. we can handle it. And I think that would actually be a very good change overall, right? For movies in general or comic book movies, however you want to phrase them.
And there would be less feeling of spoiler, right? Which is one of the things
Yes.
that always worries me. Like, that's why I hadn't watched these until right before we were recording. I'm like, I'm already going to see the movie. How much do I want to absorb
Like what?
information? And so I would love if these were not scenes from it. And you're like, hey, we can, if this is all in trailers and it's all public information, we don't have to work it into the movie. But I think probably some cinema gurus would probably be like, you still got to make the movie a good movie, right? Don't cut key scenes. But we should at least mention, I don't want to talk too long on it since we're already like 10 minutes in, but we should mention the Thor trailer, right? Like,
absolutely.
What happened with him. Like, his praying, basically.
My question to you
Sure.
is, how do you feel about a Thor effective retcon, right? Because like we're now getting very Asgardian language, very like back to his oath and his family. It's like, hey, we're back to like very serious Thor, right? And we're no longer like, hey, like we're here with a mission and goal, and we're here to accomplish that goal.
I think I don't consider it a retcon. Because I think we all go through stages, right? And if you imagine his life cycle, right, where lives for hundreds and hundreds of years longer than a human, that we go through.
I think he's like 1,600 years old or whatever right now.
We go through time periods where we're super silly, but then we go through times where we're depressed or like more focused. And he just like post Love and Thunder was sad in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Like Jane Foster dies, the love of his life, and he's also suddenly a dad, right? And so you have
we end the movie,
two of the like most life-changing things that could possibly happen to someone, and he's dealing with
life
that.
and
So
death.
So to say that he's going to grow as a character because of those things should be like obvious. And so it would actually make less sense if he was the same person from Ragnarok that he is now in Doomsday, after having so many life-changing events. Yeah, I see it more as a natural progression that maybe, him naturally wanting to connect with his dad now that he's a dad, that just makes sense to me.
I agree with you, and I feel like his story arc is at the end of Ragnarok, right, and going into Endgame Infinity War is that he reconnects with his brother. His brother dies. Most of his friends and family die.
Yep.
They relocate to what's left on a planet that they've tried to make work. He goes into space to sulk, right? Yeah. Like very publicly sulk about the death of his family, what's going on. Gets back together, becomes a father, and now is like considering like, oh, what is the future I want to have for my child?
Yeah.
What is this world I want her to have? Right? Like, what is this future? Like, I don't want her to have what I have. I want her to have a better thing that I have.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like, this is a very powerful message to have for Thor. And this growth, this character who started Thor 1 is this character who did not care about anyone. Right? Straight up did not care, did not integrate, had no feelings. He was like, yeah. So, like, it's to your point, like, it's a very interesting growth for his character, and where he's at now. And in this cycle, it's like, oh, he's now reconsidering his decisions, recontextualizing them.
Yeah, totally true. All right, well, let's get on to some from Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. But I'm hoping that my hype can just build for Doomsday, and that I will be excited about it. Like when push come to shove, that like I'm gonna feel that Marvel hype that I've had in the past. Yes,
watching these trailers, I was like, buddy, like you just gotta ride this train.
Yeah.
If you could just thread this needle, we can do this. We can do this all together and be back happy again.
All right. We got some shout outs to start things off.
We do have some shout outs.
Danny.
I think we should shout out one. We are Pacific Northwest Podcasts. And we should talk about things in Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Things that are happening in the areas. Like Carl will be coming up in February. As a reminder to everyone, shout out to our boy Carl. Right? That'll be happening in February 22nd. Currently waitlisted. But again, lots of people drop out. Things change as we have in larger events, and this is now getting larger and larger, as we all know. So please, if you're considering or thinking about things, sign up, and we will find out all together how things will shake out. And then on top of that, in events in our area, we have like Cascaded Team Challenge, which will be happening in January. That'll be January 24th over here in Portland, Oregon. So, again, we're trying to promote things in the area in Pacific Northwest, and people and everything could please hit us up in our chat, and we will absolutely talk about things in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't want to be hyped for events, right? Like, we're playing a miniatures game for a reason, and we want to go push around our, mutant dollies with other nerds who like mutant dollies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about today?
Well, let's talk about what we've been up to first.
Ooh, yes, that is true. That is true. What have we do now?
Finally, like, getting a mixture of trying new stuff and painting new stuff. I painted Shocker this week.
Oh, I love Shocker.
Very cool model, and I was surprised at like how well, because I had him on the base, and then his like energy wave thing. I painted that separate.
Oh, yeah, the pulse.
Yeah, the pulse, because I wanted to be able to kind of paint under it, and it was kind of low to the ground, and so painted it separate. And so some little subtle shout out to AMG. I liked how much so I could paint the rocks, have the rocks all totally done, and then I wanted to paint the energy after. And the rocks were big enough, and like on the sides, it was easy enough to hold the piece and then like paint all the other details. And I had enough to like hold on to. So there was some subtlety of like painting that separately where I really appreciated the engineering of it all. And just like cool model. And then playing him, I had a feeling I was going to like him, but like there was also some people in the community that, because he's kind of bland. I do get, you look at his card and there's not a whole lot there.
And his name is Herman Schultz, right?
Yeah.
Like, how exciting can you be?
right. Hermans are not exciting. I would apologize if your name is Herman, but
yeah.
Don't get too excited. But like, there's a lot of things that I just like about his card. Range 3 attack. I love range 3 attacks, right? Just solid dice pools over though. A wild Sagger on the spender. Got good defensive stats, 4/3/3. He's only a 5/5, which is not like mind-boggling. But then having a couple of defensive mechanics, right? The ability to add dice and the ability that he like takes away dice to people who are
removal of dice is the thing that people everyone forgets about that, so they get close to him, they're like, oh, right.
Yes.
So shock and the dice removal is like a -2 is crazy. Right? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I have been very impressed with him. Well, obviously, there's going to be things that are going to pick him apart, right? There's just going to be some characters like Yondu's going to shred that boy, like for sure.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like for a 3, I like that he is different than Lizard, right? But still gives you just like a solid, like decent 3 threat. And
I like the bigger base for him, like all sorts of like the small mechanics that matter. What I like with him, particularly when I was playing Shadowlands, is just body blocking points, because he's just so fat. He's like, I'm going to sit here. You want to fight me? Go for it. Like, go ahead.
Well, and there's just something about having a solid in-affiliation 3 for foes with all of these new cards.
Yeah.
Right? And so just having someone who can play all the different cards, and you're just like, I have no problem with him being an affiliated 3, because you're like, maybe I play Surprise Webhead with him, maybe I don't. Like, you don't need any of the things, but having them as an option for him is very nice. And so, yeah, just overall, from the moment I saw the Shocker card, I liked him. People were a little down on him, and so it kind of lessened some of my vibe. But I was like, nah, he's the one of those 4, because I haven't assembled Sandman, Vulture, or Electro yet, because I had actually brought to work Vulture and then realized that he was also a 50mm base, and so I didn't have the base for him. And I was like, is Craven the only model in this box that's on a small base?
What I like on Shocker here, when I was playing Spider Foes, is custom upgrades. Is that he can duel anyone.
Yeah.
Like, he will straight duel anyone. Like, let's go. Right? Let's have this fight. Are you actually going to be able to kill me? Like, I'm not sure. I truly am not sure.
Let's talk about, so finally got to play custom upgrades. If we go way back when the show was Omnus Protocol, and I loved Blind Obsession from basically day one. And I loved like how that card made me think and like how I would utilize it. And when they were getting rid of it, I was like, yes, this card is too good for a generic card. But from the get-go, I recall telling people, I don't know if I said it on the show, but I was like, this should just make it a Spider-Foes card. Like, make it Spider-Foes only. And so now we have that. And it is everything that I wanted. And I realized how much I missed playing Blind Obsession. And so
It's just like, it had this gobby card. It came in a box. It's like, well, clearly it's designed for this guy to use his card.
Yeah.
And then for balance reasons, like an example, right, a very silly thing I did once was Domino Blind Deception killing a Hulk. Just like straight up one activation, just killing a Hulk. He's like, yeah, that shouldn't exist in the game. Like, it's funny, right? Don't get me wrong, but that's not a thing that should exist.
Yeah, I definitely played it a lot in Criminals, where I would have like Killmonger usurp the throne, kill someone, right, and then I would steal priority with all according to plan, and I would Blind Obsession and then kill the character with custom upgrades or with Blind Obsession. It was not a pleasant experience for the opponent, so it needed to go for sure. But so happy that card is back and loving it. I will probably be playing that in a lot of my Spider-Foes games just to like get a feel for it in the current meta. Definitely digging that card. Strategic Retreat, is that the name of?
Yes.
It's not strategic withdrawal.
It is always like a funny word.
I thought it was strategic retreat. But in my mind, I want it to be strategic withdrawal.
I want to say it's retreat.
Yeah.
Like explicitly as retreat.
Interesting. I don't know if this card is going to like, I felt like I got lucky in the last game that I played with it, where I got punched and then shit was thrown at me. And so I was perfectly at 4 power with 1 health on Shocker. So when they declared the second attack, I was like, strategic retreat.
It is strategic retreat.
Yeah. I'm glad that I remembered that. And so I think with it costing 4, I don't know how dependable it's going to be to always play that card, but I conceptually like it. It feels useful.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. And so very, very cool card. And then Surprise Webhead is, as you'd expect, a little bit more balanced version of Siege of Darkness. Yeah.
Oh, Siege of Darkness. Makes you so sad.
But yeah,
it's the Immortal Hulk that really kills me.
But yeah, overall was like just a ton of fun to play. And with that said, I asked a local because AMG sent me the Xmen starter and the Spider-Foes starter. So that's how I got all of the new Spider-Foes cards, because I had not purchased that box. And I'm like, good time to play some Spider-Foes. But I asked someone to play an all foes versus all X-Men game with me. And so to kind of celebrate the starters and maybe be like a good video for people who are like looking to jump into one of those. So, so no splash characters. And between the two of us, there was 1 restricted card. And otherwise we were playing like all character or
all fun cards. Yeah.
X-Men had Brace. And beyond that, we were playing no. And I will say because it's not like the most competitive list, right? Because it's X-Men no splash, Spider-Foes no splash, but it ended up being a really interesting game. And I tried to utilize almost every ability on all of my cards, and I got really close. And I felt like they were all used in good situations. I only missed like a couple of things overall. So I was pretty proud of that.
Well, it feels good when you get to use all of your abilities.
Yeah.
And like tactically speaking, you're getting a lot of breath
Yeah.
right, from your skills.
Well, like, and I'm really, I haven't recorded the commentary over the video yet, but like there was this really interesting point where I was playing Carnage and he killed a whole bunch of shit like Carnage does, and my dice were a little bit on fire. And so he was popping off, killing stuff, and then he got killed, and Wolverine was trying to kill him before he could activate again and fell 1 damage short. Or no, he ended up falling like 3 damage short, actually, because the last attack just like whiffed. And so then I'm at the situation, though, where I was like, oh, I can spender. I can do the sadistic glee spender thing.
Yeah, they go
but
crazy.
I had 3 health. You take 1 damage per skull.
Yeah.
Right? And if I make 2 attacks, and Gambit, if he lives, can dash away and deal me 1 damage. So there's this world where I could like lose Carnage in that I'm like, I can't sadistically the spender, but then I was still like, I have a ton of power. I feel like it's worth doing the spender still because I'm going to get 2 attacks. And so there's like some really like, even though he's like an all out, like in your face murderer character, there was some really interesting, subtlety to like when you use which of the powers. And so I'm excited to do the commentary for that and kind of talk through some of those things. But, yeah, as someone who Carnage, like way back in the day when I was a kid, was one of the first characters that I like thought was like really cool from Marvel, partially because everybody loved Venom. And so then there was this like, I loved the name Carnage, and like it was like an era where people were so high on Venom. And so I was like, this is some other thing like in that universe where I was like, well, why aren't people talking about Carnage? This guy seems super cool. I didn't know much about him. I just saw like a foiled like baseball card sort of thing and like you remember the old Xmen like collectible cards and such?
Yeah, I was going to say there's this era of comics when you talk about separation anxiety, which is this whole thing kind of centers around. Is a huge event.
Separation anxiety. Oh my God.
Separation anxiety is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And which is this whole plot, the symbiotes and the whole children of Venom and this whole thing, and obviously Carnage is involved. And I will always remember the cover of Separation Anxiety because it's Carnage.
Yeah.
Right? It's Carnage going like, I've won. Eat it, suckers. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, he was.
Oh man,
he was fun to play, and I liked having him on the table again. Now, mind you, the dice were with me, so obviously characters feel good when the dice are with you. But yeah, it felt good to like play that character and like feel like he was doing good things. So yeah,
which is like a fun place to be. Like I know they've talked about future plans and things like. There's the hope with the Gamma, right? The initiative that they're like, oh, maybe there's like a symbiote thing going on. It's like, I don't know. Like the symbiotes don't actually get along all that well when you think about it. Like very rarely they work together.
Not really at all. Yeah, but this is all kind of like part of our show announcements and stuff. But the plan is now that all of the Move, Throw episodes will have video, so you can watch it on the Omnus Protocol YouTube channel. And so we're going to post that stuff every week. And I'm currently trying to do a MCP game as well each week on YouTube. We'll see. I don't know if I can stick to like one game a week all throughout the year, but
we'll see what happens.
But I'm working on it, and I'm a little ahead at the moment. So like we'll keep it going, and I'm already like learning some things about like how I want to change up some of the things. So things will already improve, I think, even over the first few videos that you guys are going to see. But I'm excited about more MCP content in general. But I wanted to shout out one thing. I thought the foil Infinity Gem cards were cool from the GT, but they've just been sitting in a bag for me. So I ordered these little just 3 baseball card holders. Yeah. And then I had some bracket things that I just glued to the back to create little so they would just stand up. And so it ended up being like a very simple, way to display them. And I was just I like nerd swag, and so a little shout out to background stuff. But
no, it's good. There's also lots of secrets in our backgrounds. There's random things
all
going
sorts
on
of like
as
random
well.
hidden things from like charity stuff and yeah. But let me kick it back over to you, Danny. How is Xmen life been treating you?
Oh man, it has been a while since we've talked about this, and so I came down to the ultimate theory of you play stuff that got buffed, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up dropping Rogue, but I dropped Rogue for Emma. Is how this went down.
Okay.
I've noticed like the influx of webs and characters and having more mystic attacks has been very helpful. So now the list is Cyclops, Colossus, Psylocke, Emma, Shang, Domino, Gambit, X-23, Black Cat, Nebula.
Okay. I dig it. I dig all of
So I've got like a web of 3 threats. I dropped Okoye. So my original idea, of Wakanda is just like I've laughed the whole theater. But I like the idea of being super aggressive still at different threat levels, which Nebula kind of hangs around. Honey Badger could work. It's just Nebula is more of like an oppressive threat. We show like spiking or dice and everything. It's like I'm not worried about what happens.
She's
Like,
also
she just
fast.
does
She
things.
can get the Cyclops power train rolling and stuff too.
Just roll. Doing the double spenders is so crazy. Like she just obliterates characters when that happens. But I have a lot of respect for Colossus now. Where I thought he was
seems like a
okay
good
in this
boy.
last change, and he's just a very good boy. I just play him like Juggernaut, where he just goes up and grabs a point and goes, "Do you want to fight him?"
No.
Let's find out. Like I don't know. Like you can fight him.
This.
Yeah. Like which one? Which one? And then he just like backs off and does things. Emma is so fun. She does all sorts of fun stuff, and sort of like is the jackknife of problem solvers for me, where it's like, oh, I need to deal with this character. It's like Emma's like, Emma's got it, right? Oh, I had the most glorious. We forget the ending of the show. I didn't know that Emma on her diamond form has a character throw.
She does now. She didn't before.
Yeah. So it was so glorious of being able to get attacked, transform, walk, move, throw a character off a different point, right? To completely diagonally to where we're at. It was like, I didn't think she'd make it. I was like, neither did I. Neither did I. And it's the teleport, like the placement from going through it matters a lot. I don't care as much about changing forms, I think, as other people did in the past. Mostly because I think grabbing extracts with her is very good. And I grab extract and defending a secure, and then using the bend will and like pushing people off. It's like you're never defending. I'm gonna stay here and whatever. I don't care, right?
Makes sense.
But I've noticed the most is really Cyclops. Is that I just suicide him now. He just goes into the fight. I was like, everyone else can live forever. Goodbye, Scott. Good luck. Okay, whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, if you can actually get some damage onto him so that his field leaders and stuff can be turned on, like that was probably more beneficial than trying to like maintain the leadership into the late game when you're probably powered up already.
There's that, and there's Headmistress.
Yeah, Headmistress. Oh my god, that card is so good.
So with Cyclops specifically, it's like the card to set up more attacks. It's like rearrange. I've had games where I used it defensively. Like someone's going to attack. I was like, actually, Emma's going to bend will, its character away. I will Headmistress a character behind cover so you can't see them.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to back off and walk over here and then change forms and then get onto the back B. And they're like, I'm like, yep.
Yep.
That sounds like a good turn. We're just going to hang out and just do nothing. Just look at the sky. And then for fighting webs, my 16, right, because I'm playing some scenarios, is my force, which is Scott, Psylocke, Emma, and Shang, which is like 3 mystic attackers and Cyclops. So his job is just to go fight someone. I don't know. Like, go figure something out. But all the mystic attackers scare everyone else. I've noticed scenarios where I just terrify certain lists. And they go, I don't want to fight this. I'm like, I know, but I want to fight. That's
Yes, you do.
like, I want to fight.
Yeah, I want to try some Emma, but I've been holding off because I know that you're doing Xmen. But Emma, like, because Headmistress has always been so good, and so now that she's got like an even more interesting card, she just seems really exciting.
There's just all sorts of funny little tricks you can do with her. And having Colossus running around is that you can always back off Colossus to defend Emma if you really have to.
Yeah.
Or they both have extracts and they're kind of like rearranging the board and rotating around. It's like, well, who do you fight, Emma or Colossus? Like, I don't know. They're both kind of running around or teleporting away or just defending each other. And it's like you fight Emma, and then Colossus moves towards you, like diagonally, and then like it's like, oh, headmistress, okay, well he moves around this building. You're like, what is going on? You're like, that's exactly, yeah,
keeping you confused.
I'm gonna just keep running around the board as long as I can. So I'm having a lot of fun with reposition games, essentially, with the Colossus, Emma. All right, having characters that can move around the board, having chargers, being very mobile, and I think that is the keeping people within the range of the leadership, right? That vector of the 5 is that when I noticed when characters sort of statically stood around, I wasn't getting as much power. It's like, okay, well, we need to continue moving around to keep people engaged and going through and having places and such.
Yeah. Oh, whole new era, whole new.
So good.
Yeah, but it seems like you're still really enjoying Cyclops.
He is a funny boy. He's a funny boy. I would say the weakest part of the list is Cyclops.
Yeah.
Like he just sort of does things, and every once in a while he'll double beam or do something cool and hit and run. But a lot of the times I'm just trying to pick up an extract and score points with him. Instead of trying to be like a threat to murder people, yeah. It's like, well, as long as he pushes once or twice a game and like scores a point or two, like it's fine.
I dig it. I think he's got a decent amount of health, and so he wants power, and so there are characters like that. I do the same thing with like Apex Sabertooth, right? Yeah. Where rather than play him like an offensive piece, I want to get an extract on him so that people are incentivized to attack him. So that, then if you do daze me and I, drop the extract, right? At least then I have power. Right. And so I think you can probably play Cyclops a little similar to that. Maybe not quite as aggressive because his power isn't quite as good, but still being able to wake up, do multiple field leaders, right? Like there's a lot to like.
It comes down to just utilizing the range and the movement abilities in a way that keeps me on secures and keeps pushing them. Between Emma, Colossus, and Cyclops, I have multiple ways of pushing people off points. So it's just like team displacement when you don't expect it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think let's go ahead and move on to our main topic. And we wanted to dig in to the new missions and maybe a little bit of like, what does this stuff mean for list building and such? Which one do you want to start off with the secure or you want to start off with the extract? What are you feeling?
I will start with the extract, which is jailbreak.
Okay.
Jailbreak leads to mass mute escape. It's a 20 threat, so it's a high threat. This one is a box shape, and essentially the way it works is that you you go and to interact with the extract like as if it was a secure one. You then gain an extract off of it. This is where like the wording gets very interesting here, and you have to kind of pay attention. Is that essentially the way it states is that if you are within 5 of a table edge, right, and holding an extract, you will lose that extract.
If you are within 5 and not within range 1. And not within range 1 of the...
Well, I was going to say that the stipulations are being within around and extract the generators, right? But the thing is, you don't have to be within one of the generator from which you picked up.
Correct.
Which is why it's kind of an interesting topic here. Like, I was playing as web warriors where they were stealing ones off me and then backing off to their own generators. I'm like, I didn't think about that at all. I didn't consider that as an option.
One of the other things that I was thinking about, because I love Nick Fury, right, is... So there's 2 parts. I want to talk about the first part first. After the first round, I was seeing that you just couldn't always do the extract stuff first, right? Because you're now like, correct. I have to get this character dazed or get this character KO'd. I have to prioritize that over grabbing an extract in this moment. So sometimes you would see end of round 2, people picking up extracts where they're like, all right, I've used the key attrition characters that maybe we got a convenient extract grab, but you would kind of do some of that stuff later in the round. And what that got me thinking about was that there are some interesting plays where you can now wait a second. Talk for a second. I want to double check the wording on the card and make sure that I'm not misquoting something.
Yeah, sure. I think what's interesting about these scenarios is that it incentivizes you to pick up later in the round, which is kind of what you're talking about. Generally speaking, with extracts, you want to be holding them very early and holding them as long as you can to be scoring. If you drop them, it's bad. Where these, picking them up early is almost a penalty because everyone knows where you're going to be. Like, there's a small window of your landing area, so you're sort of restricting yourself from what's going to happen here. So the question then becomes, is it worth picking up early to deny my opponent picking it up? Or am I more of a threat than what they can project to that point and put there? So I'm just going to kill whatever's there. I'll get a KO, and I will also get the point, in which case I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like an open question.
So the play that I was thinking of, and I don't think it will come up all the time, but so say hypothetically that you've got the Nick Fury grunts starting within range of the prisoner cell, like kind of on your opponent's side, or at one where you think your opponent is going to go to grab that. There's this interesting play where you could have the grunts pick up the extract, double move towards the board edge. Then they're going to drop it, obviously, but you get to control where it goes. So you could force a prisoner to the edge of the board so that they just can't get it, right? Because if they double move to go get it, then they're just going to drop it. So there's no reason to even go after it. I was like, man.
A suicide KO play is just so... it's like the example I have, like Smash Brothers, where you're like a Kirby or something, and you just swap away and just KO, and you're like... There's nothing you can do about it when you get in that situation because, like, that is exactly what happens in that scenario. That's how that goes down.
You can also
it's not fun, right?
You could also facilitate stuff where, so say like Yondu can grab an extract as somebody is dropping it. It's still just dropping it. So you could have Yondu a little further back and
just like.
And then you're like, oh, I moved outside of range 1 of the objective. I guess I'm going to drop this. And Yondu is like, gank. And so you could still be holding one further away. And things like Cyclops' field leadership can move them further backwards if you wanted. Like, it is a surprisingly more interesting extract than you would have managed.
It is very goofy. I actually started liking this scenario because I think Cyclops loves this scenario because hit and run lets me like move to it, move back from it, depending on positioning. I'm like, well, I'm just sort of like vectoring off here, deciding whether I want to hang here or bounce off. And him defending this like pseudo secure and picking it up and be like, I'm just going to like push you away and grab this actually. So he gets to hang out in this weird spot. No one really wants to attack him. He's still scoring a point, and he's still pushing people, which is annoying people, right?
Dude, it will bad, but I need to play this mission with Extremist console, right?
Yeah,
like
it's very
that shape is going to be so crazy to try to do those two things. That game would be so unique that I need to try it. I need to see what that's like.
Technically tangent, but in talking about these scenarios, the change to how scenarios are chosen is that I've noticed a lot more variety in combinations.
Yes.
Where I feel like before it was sort of like I would see a lot of the same combinations over and over again. I do not see that at all over the past 2 months. I love that. Like a full month now.
All right.
Like it's very interesting.
Let's talk a bit about the secure because I want to make sure that we get this in. As I'm really digging the secure. There's some subtlety to this design. Right, so it's essentially a 3 secure, right? 3 objectives, but the first round you get 4, and I think that 1 extra score speeds it up just enough that like I love it compared to the 3s that can just feel a little bit too slow. I love that both sides probably score 2 the first round, but then you're kind of going 1-2 and breaking that kind of stalemate.
Parity, yeah.
Oh, I love the subtlety of that design. And even though it feels very attrition focused, like it's a very like fighty, in my opinion, the ranges are nice. Like Cyclops can shoot people, Goblin can shoot people. It's a cool secure from just like a fighting standpoint, but you still have to move around. and then like how you react to which one becomes inactive. Like I really,
it is so spicy, so spicy.
it's such a subtly brilliant design.
Yeah. I actually love this scenario for a couple reasons. But one of the main reasons is that it forces rotations, right? It almost necessitates rotations and the ability to rotate within your list. Because if you can't rotate, you just stand around and you're hoping you roll well, which is like, okay, let's see what happens, right? I think this is this is one of the reasons why I continue to take long movers in every list I ever make. Because there's always scenarios where you're going to be incentivized to be running around and doing things. As D's are another example of this, right? But this scenario is so interesting because the shape, to your point, is a fighting shape. It's a very closer-in box. People are going to reach around. A lot of range 4s can like hit each other from everywhere. Like, okay, cool. So we're trying to fight. But because you can't sander around, even people who are like, okay, and double attack, well, your secure went away, so you're losing a point. Maybe you fought someone, but were they holding an extract? Like, maybe. Yeah. Right? Like, it's not a guarantee. Sacrifice, there's also cards to prevent that from happening, right? And so, to your point, it starts with parity, but if you get ahead quickly, you can maintain that momentum potentially and just score 3-3-3 from just secure and force them out. Right? Like, this is where Ghost Spider, like, being able to pull people off points, deny stuff. This is where deny points matters a lot more. Is when you have 3, you can secure, and it sort of changes the tempo of the match.
Yeah, I also want to shout out, I mean, obviously I play Shatterpoint as well, which is range 2 contesting. But the range 2 contesting is super fun in MCP, where you're like not always within range 2, and like the dynamics of having some more people on these objectives, right? Like I have really enjoyed the range 2 contesting, even though I was like forgetting about it at times. I'm like, oh, wait a second, this guy's actually contesting this. This is cool. Like, God, does it feel bad when you're like 1 millimeter outside of range 1?
Yeah. I think this is like a testing ground for new scenarios and how things will potentially change in the future. Sort of even out that scoring and what that looks like over time. It seems like they're trending more towards like this like contested flip where that round 3, round 4 is like very contentious, which is where like the hype of the game is.
Yeah. So question for you about this secure. What do you think about this secure for a demo game? Do you think it's a good mission for a kind of a general demo, or do you think some aspect of it? Obviously, the fact that it's range 2 when most of the game is range 1, that probably hurts it.
Yeah, there's some anti-patterns that happen in this. Most secures, right, when you either interact with them or stand around, where this is a little different, where things are happening on its own. I think it teaches you a lot of good mechanics about the game itself in terms of, like, what's important about the game. So in terms of a demo game, that is interesting and helpful for a person who doesn't have a lot of experience. It could be confusing, though, when the rest of the game doesn't align with those design goals. Whether that's good or bad, it's technically a separate question, right?
It does feel like it teaches a lot of really good core fundamentals of MCP, and is maybe a little forgiving as well, whereas like the range 1 versus the range 2 can be just a little bit more forgiving in your placement. But it teaches you to move, but you don't have to move too far. So you're not like punished for playing average speed characters.
Slower characters.
But you still need to move. And it's like it's still scoring, but it's not like too slow and it's not too fast. There's a lot of things about it that I just think teach good core MCP fundamentals.
Yeah, the scoring 3 is technically on the slower side, right? Because 5 is on the higher side and 4 is sort of mid ground. It starts with 4, so it starts faster and then slows down. So it's like, hey, here is some initial tempo, and if you can ride that wave and continue pushing the 3s, like getting all of them, you can quickly end the scenario, but can you manage that? Right? Can you actually manage that?
But, I mean, you're still probably ending in 4 rounds, right? Like, most of the time, as long as you're playing like a 3 extract as well. But yeah, overall, I ended up liking both of these Crisis cards more than I thought I would on first glance. So shout out to AMG there. Always happy to be wrong. Not that I thought they were bad, but I was concerned that they might just be a little too niche for me. Like, oh, I only want to use these if I'm really building something like specifically towards those.
Yeah.
Where,
like if you're really, really gaming them.
Yeah. And so that was my first vibe. Like, oh, these are going to be interesting for very specific teams that want to build around them. But in actually playing them, I'm like, I'm vibing with these. Like, these are just cool missions.
Like, they're interesting.
Yeah.
They're very interesting. And I don't think they necessarily are biased towards any one play style.
Yeah.
Because they sort of like warp your list around themselves, which I would actually rather scenarios force you to warp your list around them. Right, so that both players are kind of coming in and going like, okay, well, how do I deal with this? Right? And how do I resolve this?
Yeah,
which is how a lot of scenarios, in Super Scenario, it's like, I don't know, like, so this machine's going to blow up. You figure it out.
Yeah, there was definitely an aspect, especially with like the extract and dropping them, where I'm like, my first instinct was like, is this MCP?
Yeah.
Right?
Just getting weird.
But it did create just very enjoyable play patterns, and I was like, ooh, I like how this is making me think about some things differently. Kind of just, fresh, like a little freshen up, But overall, I'm digging these, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the pack is, and I'm sad that we're probably not seeing that until like Adepticon, post-Adepticon.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit, and this is sort of my like issue with the announcement schedule. Is that, like, knowing things too far in advance, like, oh, there's these scenarios, these reprints, things happening. It's like, well, they released the cards, right, which is good, but there's sort of like this lag effect. Like, if you're coming into the game, they're like, oh, there's these things that aren't officially released, but they are released, and you can print them out, but then they're also coming out, and like, as an outsider, I'd go like, well, shouldn't I wait for the official print to happen? Like, is that how games work, right?
Yeah, I think it was a good strategy to drop one of each of these early, because if there's more of this style in the pack, I think you could have more negativity about it initially. But the fact that we get to like warm up to it a little bit and just try these out where you're not forced to play them, but you can just kind of
intermix.
Yeah. Just kind of, go dip your toes in the water, so to speak. And I think that will probably help people come in and like, oh, well, these are actually more fun than I thought they were. And so now there's going to be more of them in the pack. Then you might kind of go, oh, well, now I got to pick my favorites, as opposed to going, oh my God, there's all I'm going to have to do is extracts dropping all the time. I don't know if I want to play that game. There's going to be kind of an interesting way to kind of mix that in. But that goes into what I would like as kind of like the wrap question. Do you think that these are going to be heavily vetoed over the course of like between now through Adepticon? Do you think that people are going to go, when these come up, they're going to take the other one and like force you to not play one of these two because they're so different? What do you think? Or do you think people are going to be like, yes, I want to fight you on that one?
I think these are more middle of the road, and they're essentially safer for a lot of this, both being aggressive and defensive, where they're like, this is an okay middle ground for us to fight over because of different factors, right? And they're going to actually, I would think the opposite, where they actually tune towards these two.
Okay.
Right? Because, like, the threat levels are relatively safe. They're sort of middle of the ground. There's 1820. It's like, okay, you can choose high or low, depending on which one you get. Fairly close in. You can do a lot of movement shenanigans. A lot of abilities will matter in these scenarios.
Yeah.
So we're in the tank essentially with this.
Yeah.
Which I feel like when playing. In playing games, I feel like where you want to be in like turn 0 and stuff is I didn't make a fundamental bad decision. It was a coin flip, or it was a judgment call, and that's just how things went down. But that's how games work. Right, like you make calls, imperfect information.
Yeah, it was like my one nervous part was like I would just be really sad if I was like including these in a tournament list And then, like, every time they were coming up, they were being the ones vetoed, because I do think they feel, like, fresh and, like, give a good, interesting new spin on, like, learning how to play around them. And so I would just be sad if, like, most people were like, no, I want to avoid those.
I mean, the flip side to that logic is that you're going to tank, right? And always take the ban on those cards. And so you're actually betting on the other cards. So it really depends, like, what sort of bet you're making, right?
Yes. Totally fair. All right, but yeah, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you have not tried them yet, I do recommend it. They like I said, I think they have exceeded my expectations personally, and I definitely want to get a few more games back to back on these. So I'm digging it. Do you have any closing thoughts before we start wrapping? Oh, Modesto of Magic.
No, I think those are sort of like the recap from the past couple of weeks and things we've been kind of going on and thoughts about what has been new in the recent area.
Are you excited about
happy New Year to everyone, right? And hopefully I get to have a great time in 2026.
Are you happy about getting to show off the sweet mustache on video all year long?
I mean, yeah, every day.
Yeah,
it's like this whole gimmick is what's going on with us.
Yes, yeah. I that's really why I wanted to put us on video. I was like, I need my moneymaker Danny over here. Like,
well, I thought
get the algorithm going. It's just like people want to see, Danny. You're a thirst trap. Is straight up.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're looking at this.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We're doing video. I am looking at this. I love you, buddy. Yeah, I hope if you're listening to this, do check out the YouTube show. We've done some fun stuff with our background, and we're fairly emotive podcasters. And so excited to do more of this overall. And I do have a move throw to close out the episode.
Well, remember, I fast tracked my move throw halfway through, so you've got a second move throw.
Right, like you worked one in, but I saved.
Yeah.
I ended up with it was kind of a funny one. So like Rhino advances, Rhino then makes an attack to place off of Rogue, and I had taken Rogue down to 1 health. And so I placed next to Rogue, which was also next to Gambit, and so that I could play Rhinobbery, which is a throw to make Gambit drop the objective and throw Gambit into Rogue. And then they both braced. And I forgot they were still braced. But I thought I was going to have a double kill move throw with a card, and I was very happy about it. But even though my move throw failed, move throw the podcast is exciting, and we will
perseveres.
Yeah, we'll close out there. All right, later, nerds.
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex